All right, y'all. So Terrence Howard was on PBD podcast, and a lot of people are talking about this podcast because of this specific moment where he talks about actors, and he talked about a couple different actors, Heath Ledger and one other actor. I forget his name right now, but he'll say it. But essentially, they passed away, and Patrick is asking, like, why do you think these young creatives pass away? Like so young in Hollywood specifically. And Terrence goes into this conversation about having to do certain things to get to where you are in Hollywood and the regret associated with having to do those things. All right. So this is the type of conversation that we're going to have on this episode. All right. So let's just get to it. This is like 2 hours into it. So they already had a whole conversation about quantum physics and science and space and NASA. He brought a whole NASA employee onto the show. They had a whole conversation. So this is at the end of that conversation. 2 hours in, then they start talking about this. All right. I'm going to start a little bit before the clip just so you have some additional context. And as always, we'll have a conversation about it. All right, let's go.
Terrence, you work with a lot of guys in the space. Who was one where you were enamored, where you're on set and you're just watching saying, what was this all about? Who shocked you a little bit?
Oh, wow, that's a big question. That made me just sit there and take notes. Nick Nolte was the only one. Every take he came in, we applauded him. We gave him a standing ovation. Every take, God. Every single take, because he was so dynamic in what he was doing. I've never met a better actor in my life that just shuts me up. I'm like, okay.
Nick Nolte was in the movie Warrior with Tom Hardy and Gavin O'Connor, which is, I love that movie, but he was also in Blue Chip. Was he coaching Blue Chip with Shaq?
Coaching Blue Chip, yeah.
He was in coaching, yeah, wow. Yeah, he was...
My favorite performance of him is what he did in The Hulk. That conversation that he was having with Eric Bana, the conversation, he channeled everything. He never holds anything back. So I love actors that just really pours it out. Like, I can't keep up with Joaquin Phoenix no more. Joaquin has taken off. He's in a place where the disbelief that I can't do anymore because I've been rooted into trying.
So what's the first time you met him?
With who?
Joaquin.
Joaquin was when we were doing, he was nominated with me when we were doing, he was nominated for Walk the Line. I was nominated for Hustle and Flow. So we were in the whole circuit.
That's the first time.
That's the first time.
Did you guys ever do anything together?
Nope.
Never have?
Nope. Dude, it was me, him, Heath Ledger. He was in the run with us. It was Philip Seymour Hoffman running with us.
That's the same. What
and
four
two of those
names?
people are dead now.
I know. Heath
out
and
of
Philip.
the five, yeah.
Wow.
Out of the five, that was us. So, there's a short life in
Why do you think that is with the creative side?
Well, because losing out money, you got to take drugs. You're going through so much shit to try and deal with life. You are literally, it's an unhealthy space. And so eventually you're going to go too far. Who knows what happened to Philip? Who knows what Heath had to do in order to get to where he was at? There's a lot of things that people do that end up sitting and they can't get over it. And they got to keep getting high, hoping to get it out of their head. But when you lose your man card, that's the only thing I can think of. You lose your damn man card.
What is that? What do you mean by that?
You give up your ability, your right to being a man. A man don't take it, a man gives it. So when you give up that man card.
I'm sorry, bro. Believe it or not, I haven't watched this clip yet. I've heard about it. I've seen glimpses of it on social media, but I haven't actually watched this clip yet. I didn't think he was going to get this real. Let's just play it.
You don't get that back.
Are you saying what I think you're saying?
No, I'm saying what I'm saying. You don't get that back. You come into this world as a man one time. You give up that right for anything, for fear of being hurt, fear of somebody doing something, for wanting to gain something. When you give up that man card right, you lose some spiritual energy that has always been pushing through. Like if a woman gives up her womanly right of being a mother and taking care of her family and do all those things, when you give up those things, but when you give up your manhood, I've never seen somebody recover from it. That was all the people that went to the Puffy parties. That was all the people that did all those things thinking that there was never going to be a consequence for what they were doing. Get punked out and pimped out by some greater desire. You shouldn't have a greater desire than being a man. So I believe that's a big problem with a lot of the actors out there because they get fluid. And next thing you know, once you go fluid, it's gone. You don't have any foundation to pull yourself back from. So maintain your man card, no matter what.
Man, I mean, you know, one of the things you're seeing, you went to a whole different place.
Sorry.
No, I get it. So you see some guys struggling with that. You see Bieber struggling with that. You see some of these guys struggling with that.
They can't get it out of their head. They can't get it out of their head. The things that they did, no matter how they did it, whether they were drunk or high or whatever, you gave up your man card. You need therapy. And that's the thing that hurts them the most. And so they end up on drugs, end up every way to try and get rid of any principles there are. And that's what the business does. And the women that trade their bodies to go and get the role, they get to the point where they have their Oscar, they have their money, but they don't have their dream. They don't have the soul that they started with. So it's like achieving don't mean anything. Wow. If I get all the Nobel Prizes from doing all of this, but in the process I have to trade out all of my integrity to do it so that they can stay in place, what benefit is that if I lose my integrity? You got to go in as a principal. And what we were brought in here as men. We produce 1,500 sperm per heartbeat for a reason, because the aggression is necessary. You don't trade that in, no matter what.
Did you ever have the opportunity where you got invited and you said no to it?
Hell yeah.
What was the consequences when you said no?
Puffy invited me for weeks, asking me to come and teach him how to, wanted me to be his acting coach for a while. Go there and he's sitting around just looking. I'm like, okay, what's the material you want to work on? He's just looking at me. Then next thing you know, okay, hey, will you help me? I want to hear your music. So I come over there and I play the music. And he's sitting there just looking at me, like waiting. Okay. So then my assistant was like, he wants to hang out with you next week. And I was like, for what? He's like, I think he's trying to
That was impeccable timing on the pause. So the assistant said that his assistant said, I think Puffy trying to, lay down with you. Let me just skip a little bit. Not too much. I'm just trying to skip past that part. We'll go right here. Hold on. Somebody told me if I use the arrows, I could scrub better, but that's not true.
Oh, okay. Now I get it. So now no more communication. Now you know to be hands off with somebody. A number of producers come in to make the approach, and you threaten to punch them in the mouth, or threaten to knock their head off, or talking to you or looking at you like you're a woman. When you approach a real man about his masculinity, you're going to get a real reaction back. It's a difference when a guy walks in a room and when a man walks into a room. And a man don't take the same things that a guy will accept. So always be the man in the room. And that's always been my whole thing, and have lost businesses because I don't bend over in that way. I don't compromise. I don't play gay roles. I don't kiss a man. I don't do that shit, because the man card means everything.
I had no idea we're going to go this direction with the podcast. This is absolute. But listen, we've talked about it. We've had a lot of the guys on to talk about this stuff. Are you done with Hollywood because of this specific reason?
I'm still working. I still, I haven't made the money necessary to do all of the other stuff. So I still have to go and do the chitlin circuit. I still have to do the job that I need to. But eventually, I've done what I set out to do, which was to redefine the universe. I've proven what I've set out to do, and that's why I have all the patents. Whether they evaluate it or not, that's up to them. But I've done the work and finished it. Now I can go on and do whatever else we need to do. And I've appreciated you being here and talking to you in a big way. So thank you for coming and sharing your understanding and helping me in understanding how they see the universe. I really appreciate it.
You know what's the best part about this? That you guys don't know each other. Mm-hmm. And by the way, I told you we may have somebody, but I never gave you a name.
Never did.
Until you came here, you guys met, so you did not know this was going to take place.
Okay. It's interesting from the perspective of Terrence Howard, who obviously was an A-list, celebrity for a period of time in Hollywood. You know what I mean? Like an extremely sought after actor in the industry. It's interesting hearing his perspective, because there's no denying that he's experienced and been in these rooms with these individuals, with these producers, with these higher ups, with these, celebrities. He's heard the conversation behind doors, the stuff that typically doesn't get out. So it's interesting hearing his conversation and hearing his perspective. And, who knows? But I definitely think there's some truth to what he's saying, for sure. For sure. I think, Hollywood, and we've seen this, You know, we've seen different directors and executives be put in prison because of the way that they get down in Hollywood. You know, the sacrifice, so to say, of yourself in order to experience that success, in order to get that role, in order to, you know, be in that room so that you can have the opportunity to, you know, win an award or, you know, be praised by human beings on this earth. Like, a lot of people go through a lot of things in order to get where they want to go. And they compromise their beliefs, their morals, their ethics in order to achieve those things. Because I think, and obviously I don't know, but I think that the reason why they're able to do that is because maybe they believe that once they get to that point, once they reach that success, once they get that award, once they get that Oscar, that Grammy, maybe they think that that moment is magically going to clean up everything that they had to do to get to that point. And unfortunately, we see, you know, a lot of people within this space become very addicted to substances. We see it, unfortunately, in child actors, you know, children who are very famous, very successful actors, very young. Not very many of them make it out of the industry unscathed from the standpoint of substance abuse or mental health disorders or just whatever emotional distress that they're going through by way of being in that industry. Not many of them make it out like, you know, like solid. Even from the adults in the industry, we see how many people are strung out. We see how many people are leaning on substances and, you know, in and out of rehab. It's like crazy. It's like, bro, you're rich, you're successful. You got, you know, friends and connections and family, and you have all this type of stuff that from the outsider looking in would be like very desirable things, like, you know, to the world. How come you're in and out of rehab? How come you're struggling with substances like abuse? How come like you're going crazy? How come you're literally losing your mind? Like, what's up? Like, you have everything that the world told us to go and get, right? To go be successful, to be, you know, wealthy and to have this amount of notoriety and industry respect. Like, you have all of that, but how come you're strung out? Like, something is missing here. Something's up. Something's up. So, you know, he said a lot of things. Ultimately, you know what you need, and this should come as no surprise. No matter what, you need God. You need God. You need God. You need God. No matter what. Because the substances are not going to account for the spiritual sacrifices that were made if you are one of these individuals who gave yourself up in this manner in order to become famous. And like, I don't know specifically who he's talking about, but I'm sure it happens, right? And if you're in that category, because who knows, I don't know who could be watching or listening. There is healing for that still, but it's only found in Jesus Christ. He is the only one that can clean that up. He's the only one. You're not going to find it in alcohol. You're not going to find it in drugs. You're not going to find it in a person. You're only going to find it in Jesus Christ. He is the true healer. It's a very predatory system. It sounds like, because once again, I don't have any experience in it. I used to want to be an actor. I took acting classes. Like, here's the thing. Complete honesty. I've been doing this acting thing with my church for the past like 5 weeks. So next week is going to be the last week. And it really kind of gave me that acting bug again. Like, I kind of want to go and, like, you know, take some classes and whatnot. and maybe, self-produce like a little like short film or something like that. But I used to like really want to be an actor when I was like 17, 18, coming out of high school. I didn't know what I was going to do. I had no clue. I had zero clue what I was going to do. I thought I was going to play sports, but my grades sucked. So like they were like, you could go to a JUCO and then, you could maybe transfer. I'm like, I ain't trying to go no JUCO. Like, I'm straight. I'll go work at, Taco Bell, which I did. I went and worked at Taco Bell, went and worked at GNC, and then I was doing acting classes on the side. And I got like maybe one or two gigs, like commercial type stuff. And I kind of quickly realized like, yo, this industry is very weird. And this was before I even had any knowledge of Jesus or any knowledge of God or any knowledge of the spiritual realm whatsoever. I just felt like, yo, there's some weird stuff that I sense is happening here. Like this is not like a normal environment. This is a little different, So although, at that time, I would have thought that it would have been a blessing if I would have made it, quote unquote, made it. I would have thought it would have been a blessing if I would have made it during that time. But in all actuality, it would have been directly from the enemy because I would not have been able to handle that. I just wasn't spiritually mature at all. I didn't have any knowledge of God at all. I was truly just in it just to serve and gratify myself. And, I thank God looking back that door was closed. I thank God that door was closed. At the time I was confused. I was like, man, I'm really putting in some work. I'm studying, I'm going to class. Like we would do like these agents, like showcases. So like agents would come out and it'd be like a little like showcase, like type of stuff. And, it was like nothing was really working until I got that one commercial job. And then I realized like, the money's cool. Like it was good. I had never really made any money like that so quickly. But I quickly understood like, yo, something's weird here. Something's off. Something's off. And you know how people be saying it always happens in like the makeup and like the dressing rooms and stuff like that. I could see that. Cause I don't know. I'm not the person to ask. Obviously, Terrence Howard was actually in it, right? I just had a little small, tiny glimpse of it. But that's crazy. That's crazy. The moral of the story: don't be upset if there's a door that's closed. That's actually a blessing. That's actually a blessing. That's actually a blessing. Maybe you need to go to God and really make sure that you're in line with his will for your life in that moment. Because so often we think that a door that is closed means that, we ain't doing the right thing or whatever. But yo, that could actually be a blessing. All right. Anyway, let me know what you think. Get in my comments, like this video. I'm out.